If you're receiving CPP or OAS payments, listen carefully because what I'm about to tell you could affect when your money hits your bank account this month. The Canada Revenue Agency has just announced payment timing changes for February 2026. And some of you watching this video right now are going to be selected for eligibility reviews that could delay your benefits. I know that sounds stressful, but stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening, when to expect your money, and what to do if you're flagged for a review. Now, February 2026 is bringing some changes that Service Canada hasn't made widely public yet, and that's a problem because knowledge is power when it comes to your financial security. So today we're going to walk through everything step by step. I'm going to explain the payment timing changes, who's being selected for eligibility reviews, what triggers these reviews, and most importantly, what you need to do to protect your payments. Grab a pen and paper if you can, because there are some important dates and phone numbers you're going to want to write down. Let's start with the payment timing changes, because this affects everyone receiving CPP or OAS benefits. Under normal circumstances, your CPP and OAS payments are deposited on the third to last business day of each month. For most months, this system works perfectly fine. You know when to expect your money, you can plan your bills around it, and there are no surprises. But February 2026 is not a normal month from a banking calendar perspective. Here's what's different. February 2026 has 28 days. And when you factor in the weekends and how the business days fall, the standard payment date would have landed on February 25th. However, Service Canada has announced that due to banking system updates and processing requirements, payments will instead be issued on February 26th for the majority of recipients. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, "That's only one day different. What's the big deal?" And you're right to think that one day shouldn't matter much, but here's why it does matter. If you have automatic withdrawals set up for bills, rent, mortgage payments, or any other expenses that come out of your account on the 26th or 27th, that one-day difference could mean the difference between those payments going through successfully or bouncing due to insufficient funds. Banks charge anywhere from $30 to $45 for non-sufficient funds fees. If you have multiple automatic payments that bounce, you could be looking at hundreds of dollars in fees, all because of a one-day shift in your payment schedule. So what do you need to do? First, check your automatic payments and bill schedules. If anything is set to come out on February 26th or 27th, contact those companies now and ask them to move the withdrawal date to February 28th or March 1st. Most companies will accommodate this request without any issues, especially if you explain that your government benefit payment date has shifted. Second, if you use your CPP or OAS money to cover rent or mortgage payments that are due on the first of the month, make sure you're communicating with your landlord or mortgage company. Let them know your payment might be cutting it close this month. It's better to have that conversation now than to deal with late fees or penalties later. Service Canada has announced that they are conducting random eligibility reviews for approximately 15% of all CPP and OAS recipients during the first quarter of 2026. That means if you're receiving benefits, you have roughly a 1 in 7 chance of being selected for a review. I want to be very clear about something right from the start. Being selected for a review does not mean you've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean Service Canada suspects fraud. It doesn't mean your benefits are being cut. These are routine compliance checks that the government is required to conduct to ensure that everyone receiving benefits still meets the eligibility criteria. However, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Music. If you are selected for a review and you don't respond properly or on time, your payments can be delayed or even suspended, music, until the review is completed, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. So, who's most likely to be selected? According to the information Service Canada has released, the reviews are focusing on a few specific groups. First, anyone who recently updated their banking information or mailing address. If you changed your direct deposit details or music moved to a new address in the last 6 months, you have a higher chance of being flagged for a review. Music. Second, recipients who are receiving benefits while living outside of Canada for extended periods. Music. If you're a snowbird who spends winters in the United States, or if you've moved abroad but are still receiving Canadian benefits, you're very music likely to receive a review notice. Third, individuals who turned 65 in the past, music 18 months. New recipients are often reviewed within the first year or two. Music of receiving benefits to confirm that all the initial eligibility music information was accurate. And fourth, anyone who hasn't been reviewed in the past 7 years. Service Canada operates on a 7-year review cycle for many recipients. So if you've been music receiving benefits for a long time without any contact from them, your turn might be coming up. If you fall into any of these categories, you should be extra vigilant about checking your mail and your My Service Canada account online in the coming weeks. Now that you know who's being targeted for these reviews, let's talk about what actually triggers them, because understanding this can help you, music, avoid problems in the future. The most common trigger is income changes. Both CPP and OAS have income-related components, and if your income changes significantly from one year to the next, it can trigger an automatic review. For example, if you had employment income or self-employment income that you reported on your tax return, that music was substantially different from previous years, Service Canada might want to verify that your benefit amount is still correct. The second major trigger is residency issues. To receive OAS benefits, you must meet certain residency requirements. Generally, you need to have lived in Canada for at least 10 years after age 18 to qualify for any OAS, and you need at least 40 years of residence to receive the full amount. If Service Canada has any reason to believe you're not meeting the residency requirements, they'll initiate a review immediately. The third trigger is relationship status changes. If you got married, divorced, separated, or became widowed, these changes affect your benefit calculations, especially for the Guaranteed Income Supplement and allowance programs. The fourth trigger is survivor benefit claims. If you started receiving survivor benefits after your spouse passed away, Service Canada will periodically review these benefits to ensure the amounts are correct and that you still qualify. And the fifth trigger, which catches a lot of people off guard, is simply receiving benefits for an extended period without any reviews. As I mentioned earlier, Service Canada operates on review cycles, and if you haven't been reviewed in 7 to 10 years, you're due for one, regardless of whether anything has changed in your situation. Understanding these triggers is important because it helps you anticipate when a review might be coming and prepare for it in advance. Let's walk through exactly what happens if you receive a review notice from Service Canada. First, you'll receive a letter in the mail. This letter will come in an official Service Canada envelope, and it will clearly state that you've been selected for an eligibility review. The letter will include a reference number, a deadline for responding, and a list of documents you need to provide. Please, I'm begging you, do not ignore this letter. Worked with too many seniors who thought it was a scam, or who put it aside thinking they'd deal with it later, only to have their benefits suspended. If you, music, receive this letter, it is real. It is important, and you need to respond. The letter will typically ask for several types of documentation. They might ask for proof of residency, which can include utility bills, lease agreements, or property tax statements showing your Canadian address. They might ask music for proof of your relationship status, which could be a marriage certificate, divorce decree, music, or death certificate of a spouse. They might ask for confirmation of your banking information, which means you'll need to provide a void check or a bank statement showing your account details. They might also ask you to complete a questionnaire about your living situation, your income sources, and your time spent in Canada versus time spent abroad. Here's what you need to do when music you receive this notice. Step 1. Read the entire letter carefully and make note of the deadline. These deadlines are typically 30 days from the date on the letter, but sometimes they can be as short as 21 days. Step 2. Gather all the requested documents. If you don't have something they're asking for, music, don't panic. Contact Service Canada immediately and ask them what alternative documentation music they'll accept. They're usually willing to work with you if you're making a genuine effort. Step 3. Music. Make copies of everything you send. Never send original documents unless music absolutely required. Send photocopies or certified copies instead, and keep a record of everything you submit. Step 4. Send your response by registered mail or courier so you have proof of delivery. Do not rely on regular mail for something this important. Spend the extra $15 or $20 to make sure you can track your music package and confirm it was received. Step 5. Follow up. After you've sent your documents, wait about 10 business music days and then call service Canada to confirm they received your package and that everything was in order. Don't assume everything is fine just because you haven't heard back. Sometimes documents get lost. Sometimes they need additional information, and it's always better to be proactive. The review process typically takes 4 to 6 weeks from the time they receive your complete documentation. During this time, your payments should continue as normal in most cases. However, if there's a significant issue or if you miss the deadline, your payments could be suspended until the review is completed. Now, let's talk about practical steps you can take right now to protect yourself from payment delays, whether you're selected for a review or not. First, set up a My Service Canada account if you don't already have one. This online portal gives you access to all your benefit information, payment dates, and correspondence from Service Canada. It also allows you to update certain information without having to call or mail anything. You can check your account regularly to see if there are any messages or requests from Service Canada, which means you'll find out about issues faster than waiting for mail. To set up your account, go to the Service Canada website and click on My Service Canada account. You'll need your social insurance number, some personal information to verify your identity, and access to either online banking or a security code. Second, keep your information up to date. If you move, update your address immediately. If you change banks, update your direct deposit information. If your relationship status changes, report it within the required time frame. Keeping your information current reduces the chances of being flagged for a review and makes any review process go much more smoothly. Third, keep good records. I recommend creating a benefits folder where you keep copies of all your important documents. This should include your birth certificate, marriage certificate, and tax returns for the past 3 years. Also include bank statements, proof of residency documents and any correspondence you've received from Service Canada. Having everything organized in one place means you can respond to a review request, music, quickly and completely. Fourth, file your taxes on time every single year, even if you don't owe any money. Your OAS and GIS benefits music are calculated based on your income as reported on your tax return. If you don't file your taxes, Music Service Canada doesn't have the information they need to calculate your benefits, and your payments will be stopped. I've seen this happen to too many seniors who didn't think they needed to file because they had no income to report. File your taxes every year, no exceptions. Fifth, if you travel music outside Canada, keep detailed records of your dates of departure and return. Music, for OAS purposes, you can be outside Canada for up to 6 months at a time without losing your benefits, but you need to be able to prove how long you were gone if Service Canada asks. Keep your music boarding passes, passport stamps, or any other documentation that shows your travel dates. Music. Sixth, respond to all government correspondence immediately. If you receive any letter from Service Canada, the Canada Revenue Agency, or any other government music department regarding your benefits, treat it as urgent. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Music, don't assume it's not important. Read it the day you receive it and take whatever action is required. And seventh, music, know where to get help. If you receive a review notice and you're confused about what they're asking for, or if English or French is not your first language and you're having trouble understanding the letter, reach out for help. You can call Service Canada at 1-800-277-99914 music for CPP questions or 1-800-277-9915 for OAS questions. You can also visit a Service Canada music office in person if you need face-to-face assistance. Many communities also have seniors organizations or music nonprofit agencies that can help you navigate government processes. Despite your best efforts, sometimes payments music get delayed or suspended. If this happens to you, here's exactly what you need to do. Has your Service Canada payment suddenly stopped? It's a stressful situation, but there are clear steps you can take right now to fix it. First, don't panic. I know that's easier said than done when you're depending on that money to pay your bills, but panicking won't help. Take a deep breath, and let's work through this methodically. Second, find out why the payment was stopped. Log into your My Service Canada account and check for messages. If there's nothing there, call the Service Canada telephone line immediately at 1-800-277-9914 music. When you call, have your social insurance number ready. Try calling MIDM morning midweek for the shortest wait times. Ask the agent specifically why your payment was delayed or suspended, music, and what you need to do to resolve the issue. Third, if the suspension is due to missing documentation, gather and submit that documentation as quickly as possible. Ask the agent on the phone exactly what they need, music, what format they need it in, and where to send it. Also, ask them how long it will take to process. Music. Fourth, if the suspension is due to an error on Service Canada's music part, which does happen, ask to speak with a supervisor and have the issue escalated. Music. Request a note on your file and ask when the payment will be reinstated. Get the supervisor's name and a reference number, music, for the call. Fifth, if you're in financial hardship because of the delayed payment, tell the Service Canada music agent this. In some cases, they can issue an emergency payment. They won't music always advertise this, so you need to specifically ask about it. Sixth, document everything. Write down the date and time of every call, the name of every agent, and exactly what they promised. This is vital if the issue drags on, or if you need to escalate to a member of Parliament's office for assistance. Don't let your hard-earned benefits slip away. Subscribe and hit the bell for more weekly updates on your Canadian benefits. You've earned them. And seventh, if Service Canada is not resolving the issue in a reasonable time frame, contact your member of Parliament's office. Every MP has staff dedicated to helping constituents with federal government issues, including Service Canada problems. They can often cut through red tape and get issues resolved much faster, music, than you can on your own. To find your MP's contact information, go to the Parliament of Canada website and enter your postal code. Let me share with music the most common mistakes I see seniors make when dealing with Service Canada reviews and music payment issues so you can avoid them. Mistake number 1 is assuming a letter is a scam. Yes, there are a lot of scams out there targeting seniors, and you should absolutely be cautious. Music. But if you receive an official-looking letter, it's probably real. When in doubt, don't use any contact information from the letter. Music. Instead, call Service Canada directly using the phone number from their official website. Mistake number music 2 is missing the deadline. Service Canada deadlines are firm. They're not music suggestions. If the letter says you have 30 days to respond, you have 30 days, not 31. Plan to submit your response at least 1 week, music, before the deadline to account for mail delays and any potential issues. Mistake number 3 is sending incomplete documentation. If the letter asks for music 3 specific documents and you only send 2, your response will be considered music incomplete and your review will be delayed. If you can't provide something they're asking for, include music, a letter explaining why and what alternative documentation you're providing instead. Music mistake. Number 4 is not making copies. Always keep copies of everything you send to Service Canada. If documents get lost in the mail or in their processing system, you'll need to be able to resend them quickly. Mistake number 5 is updating your information verbally, but not in writing. If music, you call Service Canada and tell them about a change to your address or banking information, don't assume that's enough. Follow up with written documentation or update it through your My Service Canada account online. Verbal updates can get lost or music recorded incorrectly. Mistake number 6 is not following up. Music. After you submit your response to a review, follow up after 10 business days to confirm receipt. Don't wait for music them to contact you. Be proactive. And mistake number 7 is not seeking help when you need it. Too many seniors struggle through these music processes alone when there are free resources available to help. Don't be too proud or too embarrassed to ask for assistance. Now, I want to address some special situations, music, because not everyone's circumstances are the same. If you're a snowbird who spends winters in the United States, music, or Mexico, you need to be extra careful about the 6-month rule. You can be outside Canada for up to 6 months, music, at a time without losing your OAS benefits, but if you exceed 6 months, your payments will stop. The clock resets when you return to Music Canada, but you need to be able to prove when you left and when you returned. Keep all your travel documents and consider checking in at the border, even if you're driving, just to have an official record of your return to Canada. If you're living abroad permanently, the rules are different. You can continue to receive OAS if you've lived in Canada for at least 20 music years after age 18, but the amount might be different than what you'd receive if you were living in Canada. Make sure Music Service Canada knows you're living abroad and that you comply with their reporting requirements. Music. If you're receiving disability benefits in addition to CPP or OAS, you may be subject to additional reviews. Disability benefits require ongoing proof that you continue to meet the disability criteria. So, be prepared for more frequent requests for medical documentation. If you're receiving survivor benefits, be aware that these can be affected if you remarry or enter into a common law relationship. You need music to report these changes to Service Canada, and your benefit amount may change as a result. If you're receiving the Guaranteed Income Supplement, your benefits are recalculated every year based on your previous year's income. This means you need to file your taxes on time every single year, because if your tax return is late, your GIS payment will be stopped until the return is filed and processed. Music. If you think your benefit amount is wrong, you have the right to request a review. Contact Service Canada and ask for a music review of your file. They're required to investigate and provide a written explanation. Before we wrap up, I want to give you a heads up about what's coming, in the months ahead. Service Canada has indicated that these eligibility reviews will, continue throughout the first quarter of 2026. If you don't receive a notice in February, you could still receive one in March or April. Stay vigilant. Keep checking your My Service Canada account regularly for any updates, or notices. There are also potential policy changes being discussed in Parliament that could affect CPP and OAS benefits later on. I'm monitoring these discussions closely, and I'll be making videos to explain any changes as soon as they're confirmed. The annual CPP and OAS rate adjustments typically take effect in January, with potential mid-year corrections. I'll be watching for any announcements about benefit amount changes, and I'll share that information, with you. For those of you who are turning 65 this year, apply for your OAS benefits at least 6 months early. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for weekly updates, on your benefits. See you next time. Applications can take several months to process, and you don't want to miss out on any payments you're entitled to. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let me quickly summarize the key points you need to remember. Number 1, your February 2026 payment will likely arrive on February 26th instead of February 25th. Adjust your automatic payments and bill schedules accordingly to avoid NSF fees. Number 2, approximately 15% of CPP and OAS recipients are being selected for eligibility reviews this quarter. If you receive a notice, respond immediately with complete documentation before the deadline. Number 3, keep your information up to date with Service Canada. File your taxes every year and maintain good records of all your important documents. Number 4, if your payment is delayed or suspended, contact Service Canada immediately to find out why and what you need to do to resolve it. And number 5, don't hesitate to ask for help. Whether it's calling Service Canada, visiting an office, or contacting your Member of Parliament, there are resources available to assist you. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so right now. Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an important update about your benefits. I publish new videos every week covering CPP, OAS, GIS, tax tips for seniors, and other retirement-related topics that directly affect your financial security. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other Canadian seniors who might need this information. Leave a comment below if you have questions or if there are specific topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. Remember, you've worked hard for these benefits. You've